Imagine waking up at 3 in the morning. Your house is silent. Your kids are asleep. And then you hear something. A crash. A thud. Something wrong. You step into the living room. Turn on the light. And there's your husband, slumped in his chair. Blood everywhere. That's what Karina Cooper told police happened on June 18, 2021. But investigators believed almost none of it. Because behind what looked like a horrifying home invasion was a murder plot months in the making. And according to prosecutors, the killer was already inside the house. This case stayed with me, not just because of how brutal it was, but because of how ordinary it looked. Small-town Iowa, farming family, for kids, a husband and wife people thought they knew. Nothing about this looked like a murder story, until it was. And once investigators started pulling at the threads, that normal family image started falling apart. This is the Ryan Cooper case. And honestly, some parts of this are hard to shake. Ryan Cooper was 42, farmer, father of 4. By all accounts, steady, dependable, hardworking. The kind of man people describe as solid. He and his wife Karina lived in rural Tama County, Iowa. If you know small farm towns, you know the feeling. Long roads, fields stretching forever. Everybody knows everybody. Secrets don't stay hidden long. From the outside, the Coopers looked normal. Married around 12 years. Kids, farm, routine. Karina even ran a salon Ryan had built for her himself. And that detail matters. Because later, that same salon would take on a very different meaning. Because while Ryan believed he was living a normal family life, Karina was having an affair with a 23-year-old farmhand named Houston Danker, nearly 20 years younger. Single father, local guy. Now affairs happen. People leave marriages. That alone doesn't make this a murder story. But this didn't stop at an affair. Investigators would later recover Snapchat messages. And these weren't casual messages. They were intimate, obsessive, relentless. Good morning, baby. Just fell even harder for you. Messages prosecutors said showed not just romance, but fixation. And according to court records, that relationship turned into something much darker. Because at some point, prosecutors say, these two didn't start talking about leaving Ryan. They started talking about removing him. And the terrifying part? Ryan appears to have trusted both of them. That's what makes this hard. He never saw what was building around him. June 18, 2021. Around 4:30 a.m., 911 gets a call. A woman screaming, panicked, hysterical, demanding help. Deputies arrive. And it's chaos. Karina covered in blood. Children awake. Confusion everywhere. And Ryan Cooper dead in his recliner. That recliner, investigators later learned, was where he often slept. According to Karina, she woke around 3 a.m., heard a noise, walked out, found blood, thought someone had broken in. That was her story. First, no one even knew Ryan had been shot. There was confusion. Some thought medical emergency, seizure maybe, heart event. Then things started feeling off. And sometimes investigators notice that before they can explain it. Something just doesn't sit right. One detail that stuck with me, her 11-year-old son reportedly slipped in his father's blood. That image is devastating. Those children became victims instantly. Karina kept asking about an intruder, kept saying someone had been in the house.
Listen to me. Someone came in from outside. An intruder is in the house. They pushed past the door. They're still out there.
Then she says something strange. If you find who did it, shoot him in the head. That could be grief talking. Maybe. But later, that line sounded different. Much different. The next day, autopsy results come back. Homicide. 2 gunshot wounds to the head. Execution style. And suddenly, this isn't a mysterious death. This is murder. .22 casing was found. No matching gun at the scene. No sign of a random intruder. And investigators begin looking closer. Not outside the house. Inside it. Karina is brought back in. And this interview is fascinating. Because you can hear pressure building. An investigator says, I think you already know what happened. Karina, He was shot, then denial, shock, deflection, and then, why would I kill my own husband? That question comes up in so many cases, and investigators often hear it differently than we do, because sometimes it sounds like disbelief, sometimes distance. She asks for a lawyer, leaves, doesn't break, and honestly, that composure is chilling, because if prosecutors are right, she had already been living with this secret. Then investigators focus on Houston Danker. First, he minimizes everything, downplays the affair, acts casual. But investigators already had digital evidence. And digital evidence can be ruthless. Snapchat messages, timelines, search warrants, metadata. And what they found, according to prosecutors, pointed toward planning. Months of it. Messages referencing shell casings. Messages interpreted as signals. A final go-ahead. And then one extraordinary allegation. Houston came to the property on a four-wheeler in the middle of the night. That almost sounds cinematic, until you realize it's allegedly real. Eventually, under pressure, Houston starts talking, and this is where the case turns. According to investigators, he admits murder had been discussed for months, 4 or 5 months, not impulse, planning. He allegedly gave Karina a .22, and according to his statement, he backed out, said he couldn't do it. So prosecutors say, Karina did. That is an unbelievable turn in this case, because up until then, you might assume lover kills husband, but prosecutors said wife pulled trigger. That changed everything. And then, for nearly 2 years, no arrest, which probably made some people think investigators had nothing. But they were building, quietly, GPS data, vehicle movement, road tracking, digital forensics, satellite imagery. And this is where modern murder investigations can become terrifyingly precise. People think deleted means gone. Hidden means hidden. It usually isn't. By 2023, investigators believed they had enough. They confront Karina again. Her composure starts cracking. She insists, someone came into my house and killed my husband. Investigator replies, yeah, we know who. That exchange feels straight out of a crime documentary. But it happened, and you can almost feel the walls closing in. February 2024. Karina Cooper arrested. At home, with her children there. I keep thinking about those kids. What they understood. What they were told. What it felt like watching police take their mother away. Then Houston is arrested too. Charged. Both plead not guilty. First. Then Houston changes plea. Guilty. First-degree murder. Life without parole. Karina goes to trial. Maintains innocence. September 2025. Verdict. Guilty. First-degree murder. Life without parole. 4 years after Ryan was killed in his own living room, justice arrives. Slowly. But it arrives. And here's what I can't stop thinking about. This wasn't heat-of-the-moment violence. According to evidence, this was discussed for months. Months where they could have walked away, divorced, confessed affair, started over. Ryan could still be alive. That's what makes this feel so cold. Not rage, patience. And sometimes that's more disturbing. Also, this case is a reminder. Digital evidence remembers, even when people think it disappears. And in this case, that digital trail may have helped solve a murder. Ryan Cooper was 42, a farmer, a father, a man who, by all accounts, trusted the wrong people. And that trust cost him everything. What stays with me most isn't even the murder. It's that for months, he had no idea he was living beside betrayal. That's haunting. Let me know what you think about this case. Did the digital evidence make this inevitable to solve? Did Karina always intend to pull the trigger herself? I want to hear your thoughts. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're into deep dive true crime like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.